The WACHULA River Ranch, possibly one of my favorite, in fact, not even possibly, it is my favorite place to go on vacation. And here are some stories from the first time we went.
Shoot a wig, split the wishbone, bad luck, spill the wig on the carpet.
I remember it like it was yesterday. It was one of the most exciting experiences I've ever had inside of a car that was exciting for the right reasons. The reasons of exciting enjoyment excitation, rather than, I've been excited in a car, but mostly because I was scared or, something else. There are many reasons I could have been excited in the car, but this was the finest, it peaked good exciting, right? I look out the window. It's rainy. The skies are gray. And I look out the window to see, well, it appears to be a field. However, it flows with the wind. Because it's actually a river flooding a field. And
yes, flows with the
flows as the stormy winds push it.
The winds are actually water.
The winds flows with the wind, and the wind is water.
Life of that field is
well, I'm about to get to that, right? So we hop out, and my dad's in a separate car, but my mom has driven us in our big Toyota Sequoia. Toyota Sequoia.
Toyotomi Hideyoshi.
And I believe me and one of my siblings were in that Toyota. And we got out, and immediately it's like, I'm getting my bathing suit. We got our bathing suit on. The rest, Reed and my dad showed up. Right, we all got our bathing suits on. We hopped right out into that water. Just right off into that field, right? And it was connected, to a river. It was the rainy season, right? So there was so much rain that year that the river had flooded this field. And we'd been told before we went to the place that the reason they have the deck, the porch, is because sometimes the water gets past that level, but not often, right? It gets up to that level. Mm-hmm. So think about that. That's a huge driveway that's just completely flooded. So that field area was flooded, and we hopped off into it and we started splashing around. And there were these weird balls of like oddly colored dirt floating around, and they were like weird. We couldn't tell what they were, except it wasn't feces. We knew for a fact it wasn't feces. We're experts on feces. Having an aunt who owns a farm, and
Let's move on.
yeah. And yeah, we just saw these littler balls floating around, and then these bigger balls, and we just really weren't sure what they were. We didn't really want to mess with them. And I remember I was swimming, and all of a sudden I felt a stinging sensation on my back, and I was like, this is not that of a wasp or a bee. I'm used to being stung. This feels like a fire ant bite. And I look on my back, and one of these balls
Oh my god.
is climbing up onto my back, and I immediately dunk under the water and start swatting him off, and I'm like, get out of the water, get out of the water.
That's my worst freaking fear.
All of these massive balls of ants are floating around. There's like sheets of them, like at a time, just these massive, just agglomerations of ants, huge piles floating around, rolling around in balls and plates, and so we get out, we brush all the ants off, we're like, ooh, we gotta look out for that. We wait a little bit. This was freshly flooded area, so we waited a little bit, and all the ants sort of got off onto trees and stumps and grass. After about like an hour or so, we went swimming in the field again. There were no more ants. It was really fun because it was nice and shallow, and it had a grassy bottom, and it was like running in slow motion in the wind. I have a grassy bottom. Would you like to mow my lawn? It was getting pretty late, so we decided, we're gonna get around for watching some movies. We got some more people coming over. It was afternoon, but it was summertime, so it was like 6:30, and the sun was not even close to setting, right? Because
Watching the cinema.
going to watch all those movies
At the theater.
I was about to say theatre, and then you said it, and now I have to say theater in order to seem original, but it doesn't even. You ruined it. So, the sun was it was low, but it wasn't set, and then I look over the porch as we start to walk inside, and I look at the railing along the river, and I think, oh, wooden railing, because I'm intrigued by wood and structures made of it.
Ah, yes.
And I walk over to the railing, and I look down, and it's a pretty deep fall down into the river, even though the tide is up. It's built quite high up off of the floor, because it's got like a seawall, but a river wall, because it's not the sea. And I climb up onto it, because standing on fences is kind of what teenage boys do. And I look down.
I'm a teenage boy, and all I do is stand on fences.
Right? Favorite way to pass the time, standing on fences. I stand up, and I look down, and I just think, I wonder how deep the river gets here.
Oh, no.
And just then, I sort of lean forward, I stumble, I catch my bounce. Ha! I'm fine. And then I jump off. My parents and family were right out on the porch with me. None of us knew how deep the waters were. I could have broken both my legs, because we really weren't that sure at all. However, I took the risk, which made it more fun. Like, the riskier something feels, I get a lot. I love adrenaline rushes, right? And this just really got me pumped.
That adrenaline pumping. Get that adrenaline pumping.
And I jumped, and I landed. Very deep water. It's nice and deep. I couldn't even swim down to the bottom I jumped down. I was like, oh, because I jumped down not like in pencil dive form to try and get to the bottom, because I didn't know how deep it was. I could have really hurt myself. But I jumped out sort of spreading out a little bit, and so I didn't go that deep. And I'm like, oh, that was great. Oh, and I get scraped up by a tree, because there's a tree under the water. You know that tree? Yeah. There's a tree under the water, and it just, yeah, I didn't, you couldn't see it. There was a single, like the toppest, highest branch was sticking out, and I just thought it was like a stick, So I ran into it, and I just got stabbed and cut up everywhere, nowhere deep, of course. It was just a tree. I'm like, oh, and I just rolled through it. And so from then on, every chance we got, we would jump into the river. The last time we were there, it was not as deep, and we could still jump in, but our feet would touch the bottom. And also you could see the tree. We used to hang on to the tree, and like the river would pull us, and we'd have to like fight.
We gotta make this like a series, because there's so many good tidbits.
There are a lot of pieces of this delicious WACHULA puzzle. So we are gonna make this a series. You know what? We're making this a series.
Tales from WACHULA.
Tales of WACHULA coming at you from Tales from WACHULA, the River Ranch. After a nice refreshing swim, the sun starts to set, and we hear alligator noises, and we're like, oh, it's about time we get inside. We have a little bit of family who join us. Family friends as well as family. But most of our guests don't show up until the next day. But yeah, we had, I think that day, actually the first day it might have just been us. I feel like I remember my uncle or my cousin and his daughters showing up, but that could very well be any of the other days. I don't remember. Yeah, we get inside the main river house. It's really awesome. It's this big, it's a bigger house, right? It's got a loft with 2 twin beds in. It's got some nice couches in front of the telly.
It's got a clown crawl space.
It's got a clown crawl. That's just true. Up in the crawl, we found a weird fan in there last time we were there, and it was my sister's from the first time we were there. She accidentally left it in the weird clown crawl space where you could hide a clown. Yeah, it was nice big old spacious crawl space. Then it had 2 more bedrooms and a kitchen as well, but you don't sleep in the kitchen or the dining room. And it had 2 nice bedrooms, both with some really juicy beds. There were some voluptuous beds there.
Voluptuous?
Yeah, do you remember the beds?
I
Yeah.
do, but they weren't voluptuous. They were voluptuous.
Is that the word?
Yeah,
Not voluptuous.
not voluptuous.
All right. These beds were outstanding. It seemed like 2 master bedrooms. However, I think the house had 2 masters. Okay.
Right.
Nice. Both beds were super comfortable. However, we didn't stay there because we had guests and we wanted to allow the guests to stay in that house. However, the first night, my brother and I were in the loft. We stayed in the loft. However, after that, we stayed in the lodge. So there was the river house, which was the one I just described. There was the hunting cabin, which was the first structure built on the property, and it's right next to the river house.
Spider room.
And it's got a lot of spiders in. And that also has 2 twin beds and a bathroom.
After 6, there's like spiders everywhere on the walls.
There are
It's so scary.
That's a time for another video.
Get to a stopping point because
Yeah, this is
the second episode.
we're
off
getting
you getting a head injury.
okay, fine. Look, I was gonna get to a stopping point. I'm getting to a stopping point right now. So, we spent the rest of our nights in the lodge. Now, the lodge was a 5-roomed, or I mean, I guess you could say 6-room if you included the bathroom in, actually, so hold on, what's 5? 10. It's a 10-roomed building. Half of those rooms are bathrooms, and
the tub room.
4 of them, yeah, I'm going to consider that the same thing because they're outside on a porch, on a screened porch that you can close up. And I have a story about those.
I want to share my opinion.
However, that will be, you can do that. However, that'll be in the next episode. But the 4 of the rooms were bedrooms, and then there was a center room that was like a kitchen and a playroom and a TV room all in the same. All right, we're going to go into depth in the next episode. Thanks, everyone, for listening in. This has been Storybound, Tales from WACHULA. Bum, 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 bum.
I just wanna know where the love at. Where the love at. I just wanna know